The following contains footage from an M-rated game. Viewer discretion is advised. I don't think I'm gonna surprise anyone when I say that Grand Theft Auto is a well-known series, be it for its gameplay, its stories, or simply for being the most controversial thing since Mortal Kombat. GTA certainly is not a series that has to try hard to garner attention. Grand Theft Auto 3 is known for being the first open-world 3D sandbox game, as well as for shaping the sandbox game as a genre, helping to pave the way for games like Skyrim, Minecraft, and Saints Row. And with new releases like GTA 5, it got me wondering, how does GTA 3 hold up? Let's take a look. We open up with a bank heist, and 3 people trying to make their getaway.
Sorry babe, I'm an ambitious girl. You're just small time.
The guy who just got shot is our main character. A mute, psychopathic monster named Claude. And I know his name's Claude because I looked it up. No, seriously, at no point in the game is he actually referred to as Claude. So how do we know his name's Claude? Well, that's a story for another time. So after a mishap with the cartel, Claude and his new friend April make their escape.
I know a place on the edge of the red light district where we can lay low, but my hands are all messed up, so you better drive, brother.
April shows us our new home, and introduces us to our first manager, Luigi. And after we perform our first mission, we're free to do what we want. And by do what we want, I mean do the first thing that you would do, if you could do whatever you want.
In the Navy. You got any bright idea what to say?
So after that, I decided it'd be best to do the paramedic side mission, because it's significantly easier to get it done now than wait till later, and I'll explain why later. It's kind of tricky though, because you have to get through 12 levels, and if you fail once, you have to start all over. And this is where one of the more recurring problems I had was showcased first, the map system, or lack thereof. The best we get is a radar that displays where you are and gives a little bit of what's around you, which is all fine and dandy, but the problem arises when there's something out of range. It can be really difficult to tell which path to take, not because of how many paths you could take, but because it's tricky to pinpoint exactly where you're trying to head towards. This especially gets out of hand in later missions where you're supposed to go across the 3 different islands. Because there are so many routes, it's extremely difficult to figure out which one will get you where you need to go. And even without traversing each island, the paramedic mission proved to be pretty tricky, especially considering the extra time you're given is based solely on how physically far away you are from a patient you're supposed to rescue. So a patient who's next door to the hospital will give you just as much time as a patient who's across a wall that you'll have to drive around. So as a whole, the paramedic side mission has a decent amount of fake difficulty. But it's worth it in the end, because completing all 12 missions gives you the infinite sprint. Afterwards I went and did some of the other crap that you can do in free roam, and once I was finished, I went back to start the missions. Oh, but before I move on, locked doors. F them. So as for the missions, there's not too much to talk about. There are a crap ton of them, but most of them boil down to ice this guy, protect this person, or drive to some area, sometimes while the cops follow. There are also non-storyline related missions, namely the off-road ones, the phone ones, and the RC car ones. Speaking of cars, I have to say I'm really impressed by the radios. They each have their own dialogue and even music, which I can't show you due to copyright. So back to the missions, they range on how fun they are to complete, and I'm kinda disappointed in that only a few of them can be done again once they're completed. It would have been nice to redo Pump Action Pimp after collecting all 100 hidden packages and really unleashing my firepower upon him. There are also some missions that are kind of infuriating.
Get a good vantage point, then I'll head in when you fire the first shot.
No, 8-Ball, there are over a dozen of the cartel on that ship. I'm going to need more than just one shot before you go running in and getting killed like a buster. Some of the ways you start some of the missions kind of bothered me. Like the RC car missions are started the minute you enter the right vehicle, and the only indication you get of this is the symbol on the side. But you're not going to immediately think that this is going to start the mission unless you're already aware of the RC cars in the first place. So this is obviously going to trip you up the first time. Then there are the off-road vehicle missions that are activated when you enter a vehicle with absolutely no indication that they're going to do so. So unless you already knew about it, it's going to annoy you a bit when you're suddenly thrown into a mission with no warning. Then there are the missions that I never would have discovered if it weren't for the internet. The first one is a series of 4 missions you get from a guy named Marty Chunks. You start his missions by going up to a payphone, but unlike the other payphone missions, it's not labeled on the map, and there isn't a blue circle that indicates a mission can be found there. And if I hadn't have known about it, I probably would have just written off the ringing as a glitch. Then there's multi-story mayhem. The way to start this mission is to find a stallion. Not just any car, a stallion. Then you have to drive it up to the entrance of the car park in Staunton, get out, and get back in. And if you don't park in the right spot before getting out and back in, it won't work. This mission baffles me, solely on the idea that someone is supposed to just figure this out on their own. Take a specific car, take it to a specific car park, park it in a specific spot, and then get in and get out. It's not like they didn't intend for the player to find it because it's required for 100% completion. It's like they just added it to coax you into buying a strategy guide or something. Now I feel intrigued to tell you about what was probably the most annoying thing in the game. Even more annoying than the locked doors. Hostile gangs. As you progress through the game, you'll begin to notice more and more gangs are starting to fire at you with absolutely no provocation. Now this idea isn't bad on paper. It certainly does make sense that more and more people are going to be pissed at you, but the execution is just brutal. For one thing, you have virtually no way to fight back. Yeah, you end up with weapons like the rocket launcher later on, but this doesn't help because they respawn infinitely, so killing them does next to nothing. And just to add insult to injury, the cops won't do shit for you. No matter how much they fire at you, the cops will just act like they don't exist. But the minute you fire a few shots back in self-defense, suddenly they're on their side, and will start attacking you. While the hostiles are not only free to do as they please, but the ones you manage to kill will receive medical attention unless you take off their heads. But taking off their heads is tricky because you have to hit them in the head naturally. And you can't really do that when you're being swarmed by enemies. Not to mention, it makes some missions like Turismo borderline impossible. So if you don't complete it early enough, sucks to be you, you now have to drive quickly through Mafia territory while they shoot at you with shotguns that only take 2 hits to destroy your ride completely, followed by you exiting and trying to find a new ride while they fire at you and your competitors, whom you can't kill because for some reason it causes you to fail the mission, drive right past you with no trouble. It might sound like I'm being too harsh right now, but this really was a major problem I had, and again, I wouldn't have minded it as much if they would have implemented some way to fight back. Take for example the mission Rumble. Once you complete it, every single purple 9 is wiped off the street, for good, even though they didn't do anything to you, so why include a mission that wipes them off the street? Why not include missions to wipe some of the hostiles off the street? This didn't ruin the game or anything, but it was a major issue that I had throughout playing. So it took me a while, but I finally managed to complete the game 100%. I completed every mission, performed every stunt jump, did every rampage, delivered every card, every import-export, and completed every vehicle mission. And your reward for all of this is nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that was Grand Theft Auto 3. As a whole, it aged pretty well. It was a great game when it came out, and still is. However, there are a lot of flaws with it. Getting 100% completion is kind of a letdown. There are several missions that you can permanently miss if you don't do them soon enough, and some of them simply become impossible if you don't do them soon enough. But hey, it was Rockstar's first time putting GTA in a 3D world. They're allowed some screw-ups. So next time, we're going to be taking a look at how they learned from their mistakes and improved in Grand Theft Auto Miami. See you then! So that was my first ever video review. Did you like it? If so, be sure to click the corresponding button to showcase it. You can also subscribe to me if you want to see more. Most importantly, be sure to tell me anything that you think needs to be improved about my videos in the comments below, and I'll be sure to take your suggestions into consideration. Also, don't forget to like my Facebook page. I have one of those. And follow me on Twitter. That's a thing. See ya!